Kansas Jayhawks duking it out here. Winner take all. Scoop at the hoops up front and a near interception by Kansas and some great beater play already. Wow, a long-range snipe caught by UCLA's number 3. And on to my left-hand side, I got Lake Erie Elite's Matt Dwyer joining me for some color commentary. How you doing, Matt?
Very good, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Matt Dwyer joining us here, and you should be well rested after your battle with Calvary. You guys put on quite a show, and then got an upset versus QC Boston today, man. That was pivotal for your program as your organization as a whole.
Absolutely, we were thrilled with that victory. We played a very good game against Calvary. Unfortunately, couldn't make it out in the end, but we wish the best of luck to them.
And UCLA with the keeper ball possession here, and Matt, as the day continues to go on here, we're starting to see the heat get to some of these players out here.
Absolutely. Playing games as tough as these are the best games you're playing all year, and this type of heat, game after game, it really starts to wear on the team. This is really where the depth chart shows.
And then as the day goes on, you get more exhausted, the conditions get worse. The field still immaculate here at Round Rock Athletic Complex.
And not every venue can boast that. We've definitely seen some beat-up fields at Nationals for certain, but this complex is held up very well.
Nice beat up front, and then a pass right before the beat behind the hoops. Excellent effort from UCLA, and a nice scoop. It looks like they're on a run. Can they finish off the left-hand side? Look at that speed from Kansas up front, and a nice almost tackle, a nice tape. Oh, wow, you don't see that too often. Tabor getting knocked backwards. UCLA coming to bring the wood, and a score for the Jayhawks.
Taylor's a solid guy. There's no way that you're going to knock him over with the first or second hit. You're going to have to go for a few more. That's a great follow-up by him. Score for Kansas.
Gang tackle, definitely the name of the game when it comes to trying to get the Tabor. In case you haven't noticed, he's significantly larger than your average Quidditch player. Kansas with a very unique roster. Former football player in Tabor at wing chaser up front, and then Rachel Heald, former basketball player, female keeper, very uncommon in the sport of Quidditch.
Yeah, but I think if you watch Heald play, you'll see that she's no
a baller. She's a baller. There's no doubt about that as UCLA plows their way through the Kansas defense and finishes off the mid-hoop. UCLA participating in the most hyped tournament of the regular season as Kansas is just plowing everybody down before they deal with the beaters, and now beater pressure coming after a missed beat at the keeper zone. Kansas taking their time. They cannot do that when beaters are on the pressure, and now Rachel Heald getting past one chaser up front, driving in, takes a shot, it's deflected. That one was really just a force. UCLA would have to make a move. There was no intent to actually make that one, I would imagine.
Absolutely. UCLA's chasers and the high pressure there certainly bailed them out as their beaters were off in two different directions. It looks like they lost their coordination there for a moment. But looks like they're having a line sub right now, probably based on that play.
No doubt about that. And like you mentioned, you talked about a little miscommunication, also just kind of all over the place. Your beater without a ball on the opposite side of the pitch when the throw was made, so nobody there to recover. UCLA able to make that happen. Tabor gets a knocked, jars a ball loose, and they're going to say he's off broom somehow. They're going to say that Bludger hit him on his calf on his way down to the ground, making it out. Rachel Heald, wow, just popped a UCLA chaser off the broom.
Yeah, you got to hold on to that, be a little more careful.
UCLA coming in second place in the West region, just behind Cal, who got a win versus Sam Houston State University just a couple of minutes ago to advance on. A nice pass in the middle of the pitch. That is dangerous territory, and UCLA gets a beat, and actually Kansas may be able to make this work. A shot from Rachel Heald is blocked by UCLA, and now they're on a run. They got a beater in the front court, now on the attack off the left-hand side. Can Kansas get one going? The relay between the beaters is too slow, and UCLA is on the board again.
That was a miscommunication by Kansas there for sure. Definitely forced the pass. Did not need to do that. Could have settled down. Instead, UCLA with the turnover and the takeaway. Great streak down the field.
No doubt about that. Good awareness. And then how many chances, Dwyer, do you see the beater actually already down there, not having to run, just go over and tap the chaser that's right in front of you. You get a free run at the hoops.
Absolutely.
And in this game, it's 20-10 in favor of UCLA.
Kansas is moving around the back of UCLA's zone. Seeing some pressure and pass right to the keeper.
Pass under duress, and then the receiver did not run to the ball to make that pass laning shorter, and it allowed UCLA to jump it. New beater into the game for Kansas up here. They're going to go side by side, And that's Rachel England. You can't tell it's her because she doesn't have her UK flag leggings on, but that is indeed Rachel England of Kansas Quidditch.
It's a little too hot out here for the leggings,
Exactly.
but you're right. She does often keep the tag. Missed beat by UCLA. They bomb it way over the top, looking for and they've tapped it in, and almost saved by keeper Rachel Heald, and the follow-up getting the goal for UCLA.
And that is an amazing effort on the part of UCLA, sticking with that play despite the fact that the ball was tipped. It may not get there in the most unique manner, but it definitely got through the hoop, and that's all that matters. 30-10 in favor of UCLA. Beat up front. Looks like a run at the hoops. Rachel Heald on the attack on the short hoop. She loses it as she goes into the air, and UCLA gets a stop.
That was good disruption by beater Rachel England for Kansas.
And she's trying to gain control. And as a matter of fact, all three bludgers on the field, and it looks like Kansas is going to gain control after some good hustle on that play.
And that's beater Simon, number 22, keeping control there for Kansas. That was a great heads-up play by him, taking on two beaters at the same time, all three bludgers on the ground,
right,
keeping that defense strong.
UCLA waiting for the beaters to get up there and see how they're going to engage this when the beaters side by side, slightly staggered, and now they'll stack on top of each other, run to get the fast chaser, number 61. She's a deadly threat behind the hoops, and actually a run over there again, and a shot missed. UCLA going to recover and get another shot at this one. Actually, Kansas is going to pick it up after a beat from their beater up front, and now going to force UCLA to retreat. And looks like Rachel Heald is about to sub out. Slowly advancing the ball to avoid that delay of game penalty. And Frederico, it looks like we got a bludger coming our way, Dwyer. One bludger off the pitch, and a referee's going to put that one back on the soft boundary. Good hustle by the official there.
And a good goal for Kansas, taking control of that situation. Bludgers down, they drive in.
30-20 here. 30-20 in favor of UCLA as they lead the Kansas Jayhawks. A couple of defensive stops up front.
And that'll be Ryan Harris subbing in for keeper for UCLA, taking the ball up the center of the field, protected by his beaters.
Beat up front, nice one from UCLA.
But England keeps the ball. UCLA wrapped up on the far side of the field. He passes off, saved by keeper number 13, Dwyer. My doppelganger, Matt Dwyer from Kansas.
Matt Dwyer. Not that Matt Dwyer, the other Matt Dwyer. That's what you say, right? Like the other Matt Dwyer.
Very, very often.
Regional coordinator Matt Dwyer here as color commentator for us in Lake Erie Elite. Matt Dwyer is actually, that looks like that's going to be neck contact. Matt Dwyer gets taken down. And by the way, Matt Dwyer's had a rough go of it. The last time we saw Kansas play, he actually went down because of a tackle below the knee and fell down and actually had to come off the field. He was really upset about that. And it looks like he's still down as we speak. Is he going to get a sub? He is not. He's going to be stood up according to the penalty of the rule.
All right, and that foul was on UCLA chaser number 61, Elizabeth.
And she pretty much plays wire to wire when it comes for UCLA as the female chaser out there in fast position. She's got the height and the tenacity after she catches the ball to come up with something.
Errant pass by Dwyer goes wide. UCLA knocks it out of the side of the boundary.
I saw somebody flick their foot as if there was a kickoff pitch.
We'll see what referee Josh Mansfield has to say about it.
Josh Mansfield, a guy who's a big proponent of teaching officiating to all teams. He's a big fan of trying to get the sport better because currently, as we stand, most games, 99% by current players as opposed to who have been in the sport long enough who have that knowledge. As Kansas is going to get possession of it, have that knowledge to have people who are non-playing officials.
Kansas driving in. They've got Taylor behind the hoops. A blocked beat.
They're going to call. The goal ref is calling it good. One of the refs is going to say it's no good because 53 out there. I think that was McMorris, if I'm not mistaken. No, it is not McMorris. Number 53 for Kansas is going to be beat. I'm assuming he had the quaffle handle cupped underneath. The bludger, typically when you try and do that and deflect with it, it deflects off the top of the quaffle into your forearm and then drops off. So
most players either don't fear it or feel it or try to ignore it and hope the referee doesn't see, but we like to see some honest players out here, certainly.
Scouts on her. Beater pressure up front, a missed beat. UCLA is in trouble. Waiting for that throw. Good job timing that beat. Now a good hustle from UCLA over to the Kansas bench, and they're going to call a turnover. Oh, no, UCLA still has it. A nice,
driving in, passes it way back for the reset. That's 38, driving it in.
A poor decision to make that throw across the pitch at the lower ankles of UCLA's chaser over there, but UCLA finding a way through the chaos to almost make that goal.
It was a limp duck of an offensive play there, but they made the most out of it that they could. Unfortunately, Dwyer comes up with the ball, and he'll move it back up the field for Kansas.
And Tabor being manned up immediately as soon as he comes across half pitch. Got to watch him, and he's making a very distinct effort to make his making his chaser uncomfortable, constantly moving his hand and then shoving the opposing chaser. See if he makes a cut. He does go behind the hoops over there, and Matt Dwyer's going to make that pass, and a shot taken is blocked by UCLA. Now they're on a run. Down the right-hand side, there's no beaters up front. It's one-on-one, all chaser action here. Can they finish? A stop and pop behind the hoops. Good teamwork and a fake shot and a finish on the small hoop.
Great pump fake by Harris there. Completely faked Dwyer out. Got the easy goal.
Nice hustle by UCLA. Dominate here today.
I think you'll see as the teams get deeper, they're able to make those hustle plays more frequently, even later in the bracket. And I think that's what you're seeing from both teams here today.
And sometimes it's not about height, speed, or power. Sometimes it's just about pure hustle.
Number 30, Rachel Heald, back in the game at chaser for Kansas. She's behind the hoops. Dwyer with a shot. It's good.
Hits down off the top of the hoop there, and looks like, is the hoop slightly bent? They might have to check that out. And now a hustle for the Bludgers. Is England going to come up with one? They're going to say that, oh, yeah, there's going to be a bludger that was off-pitch pursued. There's two bludgers out of the play here. Immunity being called.
Harris driving against no bludgers. Shot wide. UCLA recovers. He's driving it in, finding Elizabeth Ningen on the outside. She's got it.
And now a relay for the beater up top, and actually misses the catch, so UCLA might have a shot at this. They think that there's one beater. It's no bludger situation for UCLA, and a shot still taken. Matt Dwyer with the rejection. Must be basketball season for the Jayhawks. And a dive from Matt Dwyer out there in front of Elizabeth's legs, and I think a lot of the fans happy to see some good defense out here as these two teams have come to play.
That was incredible defense by the Jayhawks, installing so much pressure against UCLA. They were making their shots errant, their passes wild, able to come up with it.
Pressure coming up top. Matt Dwyer ready to make that pass. The beat has been thrown, a tap beat and a shot. Oh, wow! Rachel England.
What a
going
Space
top
Jam
shelf.
play.
Yeah.
McCabe to Rachel Heald, that is.
Rachel Heald. I don't know why I said Rachel England. I'm sure she did something great on that play, but Rachel Heald.
She did, actually. She got bludger control back from the back corner. Or sorry, she did not get bludger control back, but she got her bludger for the team, so the team would not be left bludgerous on this next offensive drive.
Always important, for sure. And Rachel Heald with the amazing play up top, almost like they've practiced that once or twice, man.
If you know your player's skill set and you can execute, you just keep running the same play over and over, and until they learn how to defend it, you just keep scoring.
And look like that beautiful alley-oop. Rachel's done that before, as she is got a basketball background. And a quaffle being hustled down. Wait a minute, yeah, that was on somebody's quad. We heard that contact. Matt Dwyer, essentially right now, Kansas running two keepers. Matt Dwyer typically in at the keeper position. Rachel Heald in at the keeper position as well. Now going to sub out. It looks like Rachel England is going to sub out as well. They're having a conversation with their bench. They're working a rotation. Hold on a second.
It looks like
there's
Kansas
a lot of confusion
major
over
confusion
here.
on their bench. Meanwhile, Dwyer walking up the field with the protection of his beater.
Trying to make sure they have the gender count right, I'm assuming.
On the last play, as he just gets beat, Christian Krieger.
Wow.
That was a great heads-up play.
You see that beat happen, and as soon as that point chaser is not up front, Dwyer and a couple of other good top-tier shooters, they see that angle and they take it immediately. UCLA chopping his feet, cutting over to the right-hand side, almost sniped from behind, and UCLA on the bucket.
That's a great dunk by Jonathan Rivetta, number 15, keeper for UCLA.
60-40 our current score here. Should be 70-40 here in a second as UCLA is up by 3.
And it looks like Dwyer will take a sub. And
sounds like we're saying 50 all.
And we see Heald back in a keeper.
Score 50 all here. by the count on the scoreboard. Beat up front, Kansas has got one. They're going to go for the close one to force UCLA to run down the far one over there. But look, losing the quaffle up top. Elizabeth getting on top of that and forcing Rachel Heald backwards. Rachel up top gets a beat on the UCLA chaser. She's got to run at it, cuts inside, looking for a pass, and it's picked off by UCLA. Are they ready to run? No, they are not. Kansas making sure that they get the ball to the keeper. Wait a minute. Oh, they're sending back one of the chasers. It looks like it's Fagan out there who's going to get sent back to hoops. Oh, that's Ingalls, sorry. Going to get sent back to hoops after making contact. I'm sure it was I'm sure they're saying it would have been called back contact within the keeper zone, but that was not a keeper, but they would have called back contact as if it was a yellow, and they let him get away with it so he can run back to hoops. A nice block. And, wow, UCLA's beaters are physical up top once they miss those beats. That's what you see at the community team level. You miss those beats and you run through people. UCLA getting a chance to reset their offense. Now on the left-hand side.
Rivetta being guarded by Tabor.
It's not a guy you're going to be running through anytime soon. A pass in the back of the hoops. Either a shot that was way too low, and it looks like it's going to be a turnover, as I believe that's Arizona State hanging out on the hard boundary over there. Talk about best seats in the house. Right on the hard boundary. That's actually, Matt, let's be honest, that's actually a good place for a bunch of fans to be sitting. No action's going to go on there, and they're going to stop the ball from rolling too far. As a matter of fact, they're going to make them back up.
All right, we've had another personnel change for Kansas here. We've got Tabor bringing up the ball, and on the left side, Paris Nichols in a keeper.
And
England clearing the way for Tabor.
There you go. Tabor.
It's Engels and Tabor driving right through. How can you stop that guy?
One of the bludgers rolling over here underneath the broadcast booth. UCLA going to get that bludger.
I think that's the exact play that Kansas wants. They get bludger control. They use their beaters to clear a lane and just have Tabor, Heald, or Dwyer rocket it in, try and drive or shoot far.
UCLA looked like they were about to get bludger control back after an excellent play up front. A nice beat that actually sent it ricocheting backwards towards UCLA's side and then running towards the close ball, and they'll make sure that UCLA gets the ball immediately. I think they're going to say he threw it forward as opposed to trying to drop it where he was because he pulled that split. That was McMorris, by the way, for Kansas who did that. Now he's going to get beat on the quad, and UCLA will have bludger control.
That's a great heads-up play by the UCLA beater there.
Oh, just lost it after it went through the referee's leg. It went through Josh Mansfield's calf, and now a fight for the ball. Elizabeth has got Tabor on top of her, and he's mauling her to try to get that quaffle back, and Kansas is not joking around when they're trying to get that stop.
You got to scrum at your own hoops. It's absolutely unacceptable to not fall on the ball and allow an easy goal like that. Good heads-up play by Tabor. Rachel England with the cleanup.
UCLA's head coach on the pitch right now, running up on the Kansas offense. See if they pass it to him. They don't. Okay, just checking. Trying to check, I think, trying to say that Tabor went over the shoulder of Elizabeth. And that was not the case. Tabor had his hand on the quaffle the entire time.
And a good play by England as she clears the bludger lane, gets bludger control. It's Nichols driving. He's driving, dodges the tackle from Krieger and Rivetta with a goal.
And I think McMorris is trying to say that the UCLA beater ran through a beat or something like that. As, once again, lucky break for Kansas on the beater exchange. UCLA's bludger that they chased after rolled towards the scorer's table away from the play, leaving the only bludgers on that half of the pitch belonging to Kansas and an easy run at the hoops.
And it's that magical time. We've got the Snitch out on the field. He's getting ready to go. Our Seekers are getting ready to report as UCLA takes it to the top of the key. It's Rivetta. He's driving.
McMorris about to be tackled, actually gang tackled up there. He dodges a beat by letting the tackle succeed temporarily. He's hustling back, and he's got an angle on the UCLA chaser, misses him, and now a tackle coming up front. Another one from oh man.
Woo. Krieger showing his athletic skills out there, breaking the tackle, making the pass.
Nice UCLA screen for the goal. Beautiful angle and great communication, that chemistry.
That's Rivetta flying in there for the goal in the small hoop. Great job. And Nichols will take a sub, and Heald will come back in at keeper for Kansas.
Snitch on the pitch here in front of the scorer's table. Let's see how long. Oh, a nice catch from Kansas and bludger control for them.
Kansas has switched to a dual-male set, running 2 male beaters. That's 96 Andrews beat, and number 22 Simon trying to maintain bludger control, and he's got it.
And you talk about running that 2 male beater set when you have a dynamic female chaser like Rachel Heald. It's an easy decision. It's the best decision for the team at pretty much any given moment.
Absolutely. I think this set will be when they're at their strongest as Kansas gets a good look at the Snitch, but he can't quite pull it in.
Yeah, he fall off his broom there, and Kansas trying to make sure they maintain bludger control until their seeker gets back into the play.
UCLA has now subbed in Harris at keeper.
UCLA going to slow this one down a little bit. They see a no bludger situation coming up, and they see an opportunity to score, but they know if they give the ball to Kansas, they're going to go really slow to make sure that their beaters get a chance to help on the seeker game to end this game in favor of them.
And that's a good block from a wild pass from UCLA, and Heald comes up with the ball.
70-70 our score here, so guess what, Matt? Somebody's about to pick up a loss in dramatic fashion. Tabor running free. Oh, man.
He misses.
No, he
you
misses.
Gotta always stick that elbow through the hoop. That's an easy goal. That's a costly mistake for Tabor, especially in such a tight game.
Yeah,
Harris
Tabor
will take over with the ball.
There's no excuse for a guy like Tabor to be shooting, especially when there's no beater. And it looks like we got a seeker down, and he is upset. He went down, I think, because his hand got crushed. Oh, no, he's grabbing his shoulder. For UCLA, that's number 8 out there. That is Baldy Chandra, seeker/keeper for UCLA. And maybe when he got tossed down to the ground, pinpoint pressure on that shoulder usually will do the trick.
Seeker is certainly not an easy position.
No
it's
doubt
very
about
physical.
that.
You get a strong snitch, you're going to be getting tossed left, right, and center.
And it's so strange. A lot of teams only have one type of seeker on their team. Some teams, you see the deeper level ones. You talk about the Lone Star Quidditch Club, in particular Calvary. They have the Josh Andrews of the world.
And it's Harris running free. Man, he had no. Wow.
The beaters are completely out of the seeker game. I mean, the beaters are completely out of the quaffle game here. So you're going to see a lot of goals go up here, and especially with this game being within snitch range, mostly going to be them trying to get a tie. Elizabeth Ng over here rotating. Looks like Ingles has got a nice pass to Tabor.
And Tabor with the easy goal. Harris didn't even have a chance to stop him.
This time, no shot. I think he learned his lesson.
Kansas beaters absolutely locking down this seeker play. I don't think UCLA has even had a chance.
And UCLA, once again, no hesitation. A nice dodge of the beat, and now Kansas is going to have to run that one down.
Heald with the defense, not good enough, and UCLA gets another goal.
And it's going to be a chaser-on-chaser type situation here for the foreseeable future of this game, as the beaters are all over the place. You can see UCLA about to get back to the seeker game the quickest.
And it looks like Kansas is going to go for a seeker sub. That'll be Devine coming out. Heald driving in, looking for Tabor in the center. Tabor, and he's got another easy dunk through the top hoop.
Hey, Matt, I think they have a game plan to get Tabor involved, especially when the beaters. Kansas knows that they send their beaters to focus on snitch play. They can probably pull away with Tabor just plowing through a lot of defenses.
Absolutely, and this is where you'll see a lot of teams lose it. If they can't get their snitch on pitch play together with their beaters, and it's looking like Harris on the drive.
Snipe. Oh, that looked like it was a beat.
He dodged that one. He missed the shot there.
Somebody is calling beat. Yeah,
up.
Somebody was calling beat on the right-hand side over here. We talked about, Matt, a lot of teams, they get in the snitch on pitch play, and they just say they have no idea what they're doing, essentially. They don't pick a direction. It's either focus on snitch or focus on the quaffle play up front, and it's constantly changing what you have to do, and that's the value of a high-quality beater.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think you'll see at this higher level, most teams know exactly what they're doing, but when you've got 2 Kansas beaters constantly on the snitch with bludger control, it is very, very hard to get good looks, especially with the size advantage that Kansas has here. There's no way that UCLA is going to be able to match them physically, especially with Tabor on the field. Yeah. There's no way that you're stopping that guy with a head of steam.
And that's some good coaching there, especially when you know you've got you've got a guy like Tabor that's able to do that. He gets the pass. Rachel Heald up top. She's no slouch either. Pass to Tabor over the top of a defender. A catch, and a UCLA chaser is down. He's grabbing his calf. He looks like he might be hurt.
I think that was more of a Well, it might be, yeah, but he also looked quite frustrated with that play. He
Right.
was face guarding Tabor, not watching the ball at all. And
if he had turned around for just a second, he'd be able to swat that down, or even watch Tabor as he brought his arm down and be able to strip it from him.
Yeah, and that'll be the UCLA chaser taking a sub off there.
I think he pulled his hamstring and his broom broke.
And that's Krieger coming back in for that chaser.
And Krieger's had some pretty good opportunities. Seen him really chase after those balls that go behind the hoops and become a big part of the offense in that sense.
I think they need to utilize Krieger more here. Between Harris and Krieger, you've got a great driving force right now. And then if you can dish to Elizabeth Ing in the back, then I think that they can match Kansas goal for goal. Unfortunately, Kansas's beaters just completely locking it down. And now it's a foot race to the last ball. It's McMorris. He dives on the ball. And looks like McMorris loses his broom.
Rachel Hill tips a shot intended by UCLA, and they make that one on the mid-hoop after Rachel loses it behind the keeper zone. Hold on a second.
That was some great beater play over here. UCLA got control back for just a second before 22 Simon for Kansas runs in and takes it back for Kansas.
And McMorris, expecting to see him get back out here in a second. It's a pretty accurate beater, especially when it comes to those long-range shots. Guys like him are pretty useful when you're talking snitch on pitch for those occasions where if you're telling your beaters to focus solely on the snitch to make sure your seeker gets as much alone time, and then the quaffle play just so happens to pass by him, he's able to make that play for you and help you out just a little bit.
Absolutely, and that's where you're going to find the best beaters lie, that are able to keep the entire game together, not just the seeker game, not just the taster game, but a combination of the two, really.
And I think McMorris just got called for a penalty here. McMorris will get a chance to stay out there. The goal is going to be called good by UCLA behind the hoops, and it'll negate his penalty time. UCLA and Kansas in a do-or-die situation here. UCLA and Kansas duking this one out, two of the best teams in college Quidditch, both with title hopes and aspirations.
Absolutely. I think what we might see here, UCLA has played the most games this season out of any college team. They played 34 regular season games, which was actually only topped by my team, Lake Erie Lead, who played 35.
Yeah, what do you guys go, 28-7, I believe it was?
Yes, it was. And UCLA, not much worse than our record right there. Heald taking up top, Elizabeth Ing giving her hell, seriously. Heald is having some trouble.
Heald is actually laughing
I think she's smiling a little bit.
Oh, Elizabeth Ing getting nasty out there. Gotta like that. Actually having to get a chaser to come over and defend Heald to get away from Ing. And you see why right there. And Ing actually gets a hand on the ball, forces it backwards. Rachel's going to track that one down. Hold on. Are they going to call something on Holmes? Looking like the conversation. Kansas's coach is out on the pitch, by the way, and he is livid. I think he's trying to say there was some shenanigans going on in the beater game. Yes, it was. One of the beaters for UCLA. I believe that's Justin Van Lyten coming into the box over here, number 46.
That is a huge, huge penalty in the snitch on pitch game. If you have one beater out of the play, that just allows the other team to get bloodshed control immediately and completely change the pace of things. Luckily for Kansas, it's just more the status quo. Their seeker is getting an incredible amount of time with the snitch.
And Rachel Heald using her height to get away from Elizabeth Ing, making sure Ingles coming over to help in case she needs one, especially with the beaters kind of hovering around there. You see the snitch coming into play there, but Kansas is dominating the beater game up top as they are trying to force the beaters to get off long enough so that Kansas can run at the snitch, but that's just not going to happen when you only got one beater out there. You can basically only get to a stalemate. You got to have a beater partner out there to help you out when the ball's deflected, whatever direction that they're going to go.
And it looks like Kansas switches back to a traditional set, and they've got
Ingles out there holding the ball.
I think Kansas's plan here is to just ride this out.
And Kevin Gallagher, the defender, number 20, out there trying to get the ball away. And that's why Elizabeth Ing is specifically going for the ball. She knows that Rachel and the rest of Kansas aren't going to surrender it.
It's a scoop by Harris. He's getting wrapped up, trying to find his chaser. It's Krieger on the outside. Krieger gets the corner spin move. Coming through,
that's
Krieger, and that's a tackle from behind. Krieger seems, he's excited about it. He's happy that there's a penalty. He gets a free shot at the goal
run.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
They do have the three other Kansas defenders there. You've got Heald and Ingles right at the hoop, so Krieger's going to have to do a bit of fancy footwork here.
Oh, Josh Mansfield flashing that red card for a second, got a little nervous.
And that is on number 10, McCabe. And so that'll be a little bit of a bump in the road here for Kansas.
And McCabe has been one of the best chasers for Kansas this entire tournament and this entire season, to be honest with you. And Kansas has had one heck of a year. And it looks like they might be able to come up with another tackle here. The tenacity of their chaser defense, the ball just popped free. Looking for a pass, they're going to go cross pitch and a shot on the mid-hoop. Good job drawing the attention of Rachel Heald, getting her out of position, and the shot into the middle hoop for the finish.
That was a great play by UCLA. They offered multiple offensive options. Krieger couldn't drive it in. He gets out of the Harris. Harris couldn't find anything.
Oh, man, Rachel England's about to end up in the box. That's going to be guarding. Rachel England threw that one all the way back to the hard boundary. Oh, it looks like they're going to tell her to go back to hoops. A chase for this bludger out here, and Kansas wins that rundown. Kansas on the attack, going cross pitch to try and finish this one off. Two Bruins there.
Big dunk there. The defenders couldn't do anything. He got some massive hang time there.
And when it comes to that chaser on chaser situation, you like to imagine that anything inside the keeper zone is going to be money. That's usually what the moniker of an efficient snitch on pitch, chaser on chaser situation team. And now UCLA coming around. It looks like they might have another tackle. Great job from Kansas. Good hustle. And UCLA is going to get a no good call. That looked like it went through the hoop though.
It was very close, but I think the wrap on Rivetta was just too good. But great job for fighting through that. He dragged the chaser halfway through the keeper zone.
And now Kansas is going to go back, looks like, to just running with Tabor. And actually, they're not even going to waste time trying to pass it to him. He's just going to plow through. He actually just got blocked. Man. Elizabeth Ng just sticking her hand out there and hoping for something to happen, and it did.
Tabor was really underestimating her there. And UCLA will run that in for the easy goal. My goodness, that is quite the mistake from Tabor there.
That is disappointing. A second miss here. UCLA getting pretty close to this snitch. It's still snitch range.
Kansas still maintaining bludger control. It's Andrews in the middle of the pitch guarding the quaffle. Tabor on the outside now.
Tabor running. He's about to heat up just a little bit. He got inside position. It's pretty much game over. This time he gets through Elizabeth Ng.
I think he learned his lesson that time, although I think he got her in the face pretty good with that dunk there.
Yeah, on the
she
swing
doesn't
down.
Seem pleased.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth took a shot in the nose. Do we have a catch? Yeah, Elizabeth Ng's going to have to come out. She took a shot to the nose on that follow-through by Tabor.
And that's her substitute, Ashley Gore, now coming in at chaser.
And she seems pretty fine over here. Maybe she just needs a second to catch her breath. She'll be back out there. Yeah, she's pointing at her nose. I'm assuming through that follow-through Tabor's elbow, because he jumped up in the air, came down when he was trying to finish through the hoops.
That was probably it. It looks like UCLA has switched to a quicker line here. You've got Rivetta, Krieger, Gore, and Harris all in. And it looks like they're going to try and run and gun here. Rivetta coming up the field. His chaser's not even with him. Rivetta breaking a tackle, and an easy goal. Barely got touched there.
Sometimes you got to do it yourself. And Kansas, really, like you said, Dwyer, they've been dominating the beater game so far, especially around the snitch. They've been outrunning the UCLA beaters to the ball, and they've been dominating when they get in the single coverage. They're not going up together. They don't really have a plan, it seems like.
It looks like UCLA has finally gotten bludger control as Tabor's getting gang tackled. My gosh, he's going through the entire team and finally gets beat. But it's Engels with the pickup, and he follows through. Good heads-up play by number 25, Engels for the Jayhawks.
I'm going to give Tabor an assist on that. It seemed like he did a lot of the work, running through three guys and then slipping into Engels at the last second. Good job on him. And it looks like Tabor's about to sub out, so the nightmare will soon be over for UCLA.
And it looks like Padal Chandra now in its seeker for UCLA. It looks like he's got over his shoulder problem from earlier. And it's Rivetta beat at the center of the field, and Engels, he's just going to hold up. He doesn't want to run right into the bludger.
It's a turnover, and he's going to wait. McMorris has got one of the bludgers by the snitch. A pass over there. Good job by Engels to get up there. And, actually loses it when he turns around, and he runs up the pitch, and UCLA's got an easy bucket.
That was probably the easiest goal of Ryan Harris's career.
Right. Especially in this game. Kansas is giving up nothing easy, guys.
It looks like Kansas has their lone beater on the snitch. UCLA, both of their beaters on the snitch, trying to give Chandra. No, it looks like Chandra's subbed out, and they've got a new seeker in.
Hopefully Chandra's okay, and he's not forcing himself to play hurt or anything.
And that's Chalukas in.
They're going to call no good. on that shot. UCLA's going to get a chance to get back into this one. Kansas got a win. Well, Kansas finished 3-1 after Swiss play yesterday.
Oh, and it looks like, an almost catch by Foreign there, unable to do it. Kansas locking down the bludger. Meanwhile, Harris dancing, and he gets another goal for UCLA.
And that ties it up, if my score count is correct.
And it looks like Kansas Seeker is slow to get up, a little bit shaken up.
Sorry, UCLA 151-30, Matt. And water break for both of these teams here, much needed, in particular for the beaters. Beaters are always tired, but I would dare say this is a situation where everybody should be tired. I'm getting exhausted just watching those guys.
Absolutely, and we're just sitting here in the sun, and it's already, I'm feeling the sunburn coming on.
Yeah, these kids are in the zone right now. You got to respect that. They're just going out here and trying to let it all hang out, because guess what? It's do or die. Got to get it done by any means necessary. Snitch should be nearing up on handicap 2 here pretty soon. Hopefully we're not getting another hour-long game here, Matt, like we saw between the Bosnian Bear Sharks and the Warriors.
I don't know. Sometimes the spectators really like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, but I can tell you who doesn't, the players on the pitch.
Sometimes it just turns out to be a war of attrition. Who's got one more in them than the other team?
And that, of course, would be very fitting when you're trying to decide a champion.
Healed to McCabe on the outside. There are no beaters anywhere nearby. McCabe could just drive this one in, and he does. Tries to get the corner on Gore, and it's an easy bucket for McCabe.
And Elizabeth Ng has not returned just yet. Ashley Gore out there still in her place. Actually, you see Ng on the sideline at all?
She is. She's standing there.
There she is.
She's not stepping up for a substitution, so I guess the game plan is to continue with Gore for right now.
Taking some rest while she still can. She's going to let Ashley Gore run this one out. This game is going to stay in snitch range, I'm assuming. And it looks like Kansas beater just got knocked down, and actually a bludger just rolled towards him. Lucky him. And now UCLA on the attack. Hits the mid-hoop and gets another bucket.
UCLA's got some fresh legs in it. Their Seeker. Let's see if they can pull this one. Ooh, quick second hand with that. McMorris got there, though, able to knock it down. And UCLA maintaining bludger control.
UCLA flying around towards the Snitch, trying to get this one done.
Kansas
Snitch is down to
just
one hand.
Through his fingertips. Meanwhile, they're diving at the hoops.
Oh, we got a herd chaser out there. Looks like Ashley Gore is down.
And it looks like she's gripping her hand. I believe she's hurt her hand.
Hopefully.
She's a little bit
squeezing
shaken
it
up.
a little bit, and Elizabeth Ng going to go in the same way that Ashley Gore went in, off of an injury.
Kansas fumbling a little bit at the hoops there, and it looks like Krieger's
she got her hand crushed by
a
a cleat. That's what happened.
That's an unfortunate part of full contact sports. Krieger's going to hand it off to Harris. He's going to move up the field. He's got no bludgers in the way. Harris juking right.
Harris takes a snipe beat, and he is down and out. Elizabeth Ng has the quaffle. UCLA running with only one defender up front, and a nice shot from outside the keeper zone and finishes that one. Tabor's back in. You know what time it is.
Tabor time?
Yeah, Tabor time. I like it.
It's Healed streaking down the field. She passes it to Tabor a little high, but he's got it. He's pretty tall. Rivetta keeping him out of that goal, though.
Oh, man,
and Harris is off to the races. He's got no defenders in the way, and it's an easy goal for Harris.
And looks like we're probably about to get a UCLA Seeker sub. He's kind of crawling around on the ground there. Yeah, we're going to Seeker sub.
It's been quite the game here. Very hot, very high scoring. You normally don't see them this high, but when you get this late in bracket play, if you got a good snitch, you're going to see them get up there.
And Kansas Jayhawks getting some water to their guys out there. Maybe this one's going to continue. Josh Mansfield with the call here in a second. It is over. The Kansas Jayhawks are victorious over the UCLA Bruins. Overtime. Sorry. That's what I get for not paying attention to the score.
My gosh, both these teams look gassed. They're both very slowly walking back to their own benches as they pick up their things
They're
and
gonna
switch
switch
sides for
yep.
overtime. You always get that exhausted look as you pass the other team moving your bags. It's like, what are you even thinking about when you're looking at the other team? You're like, man, I want this to be over.
You want this to be over, but on top of that, you want it to be over and you winning. That's always the most.
Absolutely.
You want it to be over and you winning and going on to the next round.
Absolutely. So a quick primer on the overtime rules.
Right.
5-minute time limit. Snitch released at 30 seconds. and whatever the final score is at the end of that 5 minutes, or when the snitch is caught, is your final score. If it's a tie again, we go into sudden death second overtime, which is very rare but incredibly exciting.
And I can't tell you, Dwyer, it actually happened at Southwest Regionals, Baylor versus Silver Phoenix. And on the brooms up, one of the Baylor beaters slipped down and slid into the leg of the Silver Phoenix beater, and they called him for a red, ejected him from the game for a dangerous play because he slipped down, and one play later, the Baylor Bears had found themselves clinched into an at-large bid, essentially, but got the win to finish off their Southwest Regionals that set them up to end up here at U.S. Quidditch Cup 11.
Second overtime is always a nail-biter. I've only participated in one myself, was on the losing end of it, unfortunately.
It's usually about who gets the quaffle first.
It is. Well, I got the quaffle first, except their plan was put all 6 players on me. And
yes.
Guess what? I didn't win.
I didn't win, yeah. I mean, even Tabor probably can't win 6 on them.
Probably not. So what do you think is the optimal strategy for both of these teams? Personally, I think Kansas needs to run their beefier line. They've got to have Devine in as seeker to get strong on the snitch, Heald in at keeper, keep Engels, keep Tabor out there, Rachel England out there. For UCLA, I think they've got to go that fast line with Harris, with Krieger, Ravetta, and Ing.
No doubt about that. You talk about getting the beefier lineup out there. That Tabor technique is definitely working for Kansas, knowing that UCLA is significantly smaller. But I'm telling you right now, Matt, we've seen it happen about 3 times in the course of that last 5 minutes of that game. When Tabor misses, UCLA is ready to get out in transition, and they are getting those buckets almost every time. That's how they get out. That's how they got up 30 to begin with. They got back-to-back turnovers off the Tabor attacks, and were able to turn those into buckets for them because UCLA is more agile when the bigger lineup is out there. So it's really about that deadly balance. So people, let's be honest, man, at this point, we're in overtime. People are going to have to do some things that they're not accustomed to doing.
Absolutely. This is do or die time. This is run and gun. I think that's got to be both plans coming out, is you've got to move that quaffle as quickly as possible.
And with 5 minutes, you got to not only get out of snitch range, but make sure you're ahead on the scoreboard in case it does completely elapse in time.
And for those listening at home, it's not easy to get 3 goals in 5 minutes unless you've got a high-powered offense that you're willing to make a lot of sacrifices for.
It's not easy to get 3 goals in 5 minutes after you've already played an entire Quidditch match and going into overtime either.
Certainly not. We'll look at, as the lineups come out on the field, you do have Heald at keeper. You've got Andrews and Simon in at beater. They're going that double male set. And it looks like McCabe on the back there to round out the chasers.
McCabe with that speed and also a small combination of power out there. He does a good job, especially of finishing when he's near the hoops there. And Elizabeth Ing is going to be sent out after the 30-second mark. Kansas is going for the grab. It looks like Weary is going to step up to play seeker. And wait a minute, he's going to step back after he sees. They're going to change this up. They might send Weary out there at chaser here for a second.
Kansas doesn't have a lot of time here. They're about to start. Looks like Weary's got no choice now.
Yeah, Weary.
UCLA running with Ravetta in a keeper. They've got they're matching the dual male set at beater that Kansas is putting out. Hopefully they'll be able to put the power in and able to lock down that beater game, because that's essentially what you really need. If you can hold bludger control for even half of overtime, you're more than likely to win. I think I'd like to see the stats on that.
And then Ravetta is looking like he's making this run. He's definitely going full tilt. He's actually going to pull up about halfway there, seeing that UCLA has the run. Beater's coming in, and they're focused on each other. Hold on, we might have an injury. We do.
McCabe, what a hard hit. Great clean tackle by McCabe, but number 32 is down here. Looks like he's not feeling too good after this.
Man. Hopefully he's about to pop up here in just a second. We saw that tackle up front. Sometimes when you get tackled and your arms get pinned from having the quaffle in one hand and then the inside arm that's pinned down from the tackler, you end up hitting your head before anything else does touch. So hopefully he's going to be all right. And right now, in case you're just joining us, UCLA taking on Kansas in overtime here. Overtime 1. See what the results are going to be. Also going to be interesting to see who UCLA sends in as the replacement.
If I'm UCLA right now, I'm putting in Harris or Krieger.
Right.
You need that speed.
Krieger's been doing a spectacular job here in the back half of this game. As we are. Looks like it might be a cramp as well. Looks like they're working on his leg there. Maybe that got pinned down, but in case you wanted to hear some information about the other games that are going on. We know for sure Texas Cavalry will be facing off against the Bosnian Bear Sharks here in a second. And I don't know if you noticed yet, but behind us, Dwyer, Lone Star is warming up. They're actually hanging out in the shade, making sure that they stay cool. They're all Texas natives, so they're very accustomed to this heat. So they also know what the heat can do when you don't prepare for it properly.
Absolutely, and they've got the white jerseys on. I don't know if that's a stylistic choice or they're just trying to
it seems like
repel the heat, but I think it's a 2 for 2. I like the white jerseys better personally.
No doubt. The Kansas had their blue jerseys on yesterday. They're rocking their white ones here today.
It looks like UCLA will sub in Harris. I think that's a good call.
And UCLA's, are you impressed with the versatility that they're bringing out here at the chaser position? Now they're going to send somebody up. Is that Ashley Gore out there? It is not. We're going to trying to see who that is. That's actually going to be Dana Dixon out there trying to get the ball from Rachel Heald. Ingles is back up top on the right-hand side. Now Seeker's coming in.
Cutting in front of Ing.
Oh,
Weary
man.
with the first pass. He's lost his broom. Ing was beat.
Yep.
And the Snitch lives to fight another day. Heald on the outside. She's getting grabbed, wrapped up by Krieger.
Krieger forcing her backwards.
To Engels. And back to Heald.
And you know Krieger's going to engage up there for the tackle. They're going to do they're trying to get a defensive switch, and they've already pulled their, wow, UCLA pulling their keeper out of the keeper zone. This is interesting. Dwyer, Heald is turning her back every time that Krieger tries to engage for a tackle, and she's turning into his tackle. Like, he can't really do anything about that. She's not giving him an opportunity to tackle, but I guess, I mean, you don't have to give anybody a chance to tackle. And now UCLA in a very sensitive situation. 2 chasers near their keeper who's all the way out of the box.
And a pass off to Engels over the top. And looks like UCLA recovered. That was a wasted opportunity by Engels. They definitely could have capitalized on the power play. Really not a great move by Krieger. That's just a matter of being patient in that situation. And now he's cost his team another chaser on offense. So UCLA is going to move this one up pretty darn slowly up the field. Kansas still holding on to bludgeon control. It's Andrews and Simon. They're getting badgered a lot by the UCLA beaters, but they seem to be holding fast. And now Weary's going to have a chance at the Snitch.
And Weary working here. And if you're wondering why the penalties are probably skyrocketing, it's because everybody's tired, just be honest. People get a little bit sloppier when they're exhausted out there. But we are seeing that the Kansas Jayhawks are sticking together. They're really sticking to their fundamentals in terms of running their offense to a T. And it looks like Weary's going to get a dive and then get beat as soon as he touches the ground. Now Weary working his way up the field.
It's Engels looking over the top. Who's he looking for? He can't tell.
Another block and another stop temporarily by the UCLA Bruins. A pass behind the hoops, and it looks like that's going to go to McCabe. He's coming up around.
It's
going to
McCabe.
switch into
He's
McCabe.
driving,
Yeah.
and he misses the shot. These passes from Kansas have been, or these shots from Kansas rather, have certainly been floaters. They really need some hard shots to be able to go in there. That's 3 attempts in a row that they've missed.
For some reason, they're trying to pass as soon as they get directly in front of the hoops instead of trying to finish those scores.
And Kansas has the size advantage. I don't know why they don't want to just go through. Engels is bigger than almost anyone out there.
Weary fighting away the Snitch who had his broom for a second.
Tabor picks up the lost ball from Harris, and Tabor, my gosh, with a thundering dunk.
Wrecks the hoop.
And I think that might be a little bit of a delay tactic too.
Yeah, exactly. No doubt about that. You say that. Tabor relatively new to Quidditch, although very effective out there on the pitch. His technique. Maybe he's learning. Maybe Kansas is out there developing. I know Tabor for sure, a multi-sport athlete. Played a little bit of football back in the day. On top of that, he is a yell leader at Kansas as well, and that's why he missed a good chunk of the season for the Jayhawks.
Weary's getting caught up with the Snitch there, and now Ing getting some time. Weary is looking weary, as it were.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
He gets beaten away, and now UCLA, plenty of time. Ing really wrapped up with that Snitch, and Kansas is just trying to hold together. They do have bludgeon control, so I really don't know why they're not trying to go against the Seeker. I guess they're trying to stop any quaffles. Harris getting the big pass over the top, and he gets a dunk.
And let's see if, well, hopefully that hoop is not damaged. It is. It came out perfectly without being wrecked, so that's nice. We've seen a couple of couplings replaced here, and we are up. Here we go, Dwyer. We got our first player to cramp up here on the sideline. The Heat finally getting to somebody. And that looks like it's McMorris, the younger McMorris.
Kansas using their bludgers to clear a path. Engels driving in. He's got to have a hard finish here. He's, my gosh, there we go, finally. He was just flailing his arms around, not really moving closer to the hoop as Rivetta tries to go in for the block.
And Dwyer, the Kansas Jayhawks have changed mentalities. They're not concerned with the snitch anymore, it seems. They're concerned with what happens when the 5 minutes is up, who's ahead on the scoreboard.
Absolutely. Kansas getting some time alone, and now Rivetta gets beat. It's Engels off to the races, and he's got an easy one. Nice hard shot. Back off the boundary. Take a few more seconds off the clock there.
210 to 190 here. Kansas Jayhawks up by 20.
And it's Andrews.
And a near catch.
Divine almost. Andrews with a catch in the beater game, and Andrews and Simon giving Kansas all the time in the world with this snitch. Meanwhile, Gore taking it on the outside for UCLA. She's behind. She's looking for an offensive option. She's got no one. Rivetta really guarded, and it's back to Krieger up top. Krieger driving in. Big hit by Engels. Incredible.
A kick at a player's hand there for a second, it seemed like, but Kansas is going to run this one down. If they score another goal, they will be out of snitch range. McMoore is trying to wrestle away one of the bludgers, and hold on, we got an advantage, and time is up. The Kansas Jayhawks strategy pays off, and UCLA is crushed.
An incredible game to be sure. That was a great strategy by Kansas there. Taking it into overtime and then riding it out, putting in a beefy line, trying to get that quaffle game going, and they did. They had a few missteps there and a few late finishes by Engels, but he made up for it in the end there with that final insurance goal.
And UCLA going to console their teammates there, as that is a rough way to go out, Matt.
Absolutely.
That is a rough way. In the Elite Eight, UCLA falls to Kansas. That is a rough one to go. Kansas wins on points versus UCLA, and they are in the Final Four. The Kansas Jayhawks, one win away from playing in the national championship game, and to do so, they'll have to either beat the University of Rochester or the winner between UTSA and Minnesota.
Definitely some interesting matchups. I can't wait to watch them. Personally, I had Kansas going to the Final Four, although you know what? This is the strongest UCLA team we've seen in years, ever since their World Cup 6 historic run to the finals where they were finally beaten out by the first victory of the University of Texas.
And, man, has it been one heck of a ride here, ladies and gentlemen. An hour-long game between the Bosnian Bear Sharks and the Warriors, followed by an overtime game between the Kansas Jayhawks. They put everything on the line, in UCLA coming up just short in overtime, and the Kansas Jayhawks, mad respect from them for UCLA, pushing them to the brink. And the bridge of friendship, always a good thing to see when it comes to Quidditch. And UCLA a little bumped out. Elizabeth Ng hustling hard, man. It was a great hustle throughout the course of that game. UCLA, great shots from them. And next up here, looks like Lone Star is ready to go to work. Can't tell who their opponent is going to be. Looks like it.
Looks like that might be Lost Boys.
It might be the Lost